There's a ton to like about When We Were Trekkies. Great looking production, fantastic story arc, and it tells the story of the beginning of the cosplay scene.
I haven't seen my underpants in weeks. No, I haven't seen my underpants in weeks. Oh, I haven't seen my underpants. I haven't seen my underpants. I haven't seen my underpants in weeks. Yahoo!
And hello everyone, it is Tom, it's FANzine Live. This is a new releases video and we are going back to Cartoon Crossroads Columbus, where on my initial stroll into the building, or into the show floor at the expo part of Cartoon Crossroads Columbus, I ran across a gentleman named Joe Sikoriak. I have since learned he's out of the San Francisco area, and he had this, a box set complete collection of 10 issues of When We Were Trekkies, the true life graphic memoir of conventions, cosplay, and coming of age in the 70s. This is a really interesting and well done series. You buy the whole thing in a box, in a plastic box like that. Notice he did the nice wraparound on this. The packaging on this may be some of the best I've ever seen coming out of the fan world. I mean, this is incredible. Covers for all 10. Information. So what I thought we would do is just take a look at the first issue. They're all in here individually. Every book is basically the same from a construction point of view. It's all digest size, so 8.5 by 11 folded over to be 5.5 by 8.5. All glossy. He calls them duotone covers, so it's always one color and black and white. There's this one right here. You can see he's got others with browns, reds, maybe a purple-ish or a magenta. So he does it like that with the colors. Always has a really neat collage, a photo collage on the back of stuff that he pulled out from this particular issue. In my mind, these are kind of like his receipts. This is a Star Trek convention note. This is the How to Do Your Makeup magazine. This is a book on the making of Star Trek, and you got some potato chips and calculators and the like. He does a really nice job explaining the story so far. In future issues, he then even goes as far as putting in little photos, well, drawings of his characters and kind of where they stand over the course of the 10-issue series. His artwork, it's simple, but it is well done. It's a little bit wordy, but I found myself really drawn into it, especially because he keeps most of his exposition off to the sides. He does a lot of that in between the rows. He'll throw in some explanations. It's got to be digital artwork, which is fine. It's simple, but it is clear. And he does some neat things with digital work that I like. For example, this guy is watching TV, but the reflection off the TV is of Mr. Spock, which is exactly the same as here. His style, as I said, is really simple, but it works, especially because it's so consistent over the course of his series. Then in the back, he does the what's happening in the next issue, and then he has a page of references, and these are the visual receipts, these are the written receipts. And he explains all of his references that he has in the book. This stuff is mostly true, and this is where the mostly comes from. It's told in a compelling way and good enough that he can make you think the whole thing was true. On to the story. What I really like about this, and I'm so glad that I got the full set, all 10 issues. What I love about this is that Joe has clearly sat down and sketched out what he wants to accomplish in each of the 10 issues. He has clearly figured out how his characters are going to develop from issue 1 to issue 10. Some come in, some leave, some develop all the way through. His characters each have personality. It's a really well done piece. It's a well done book. And while the art is very cartoony and very simple. It doesn't detract from the story. In fact, it helps you focus the story on the things that he inserts. For example, Cinefastique monsters, TV guide, do-it-yourself monster makeup on this one, the Star Trek images from the earlier stuff. This series is about these guys who decide that they're going to start doing Star Trek conventions. And this is right at the beginning of the Star Trek convention scene. And they decide that they are going to become, as high schoolers, makeup artists. And they're going to teach themselves how to do makeup. So this is their initial studying to figure out and shopping. Now they're messing around with the latex and trying to figure out how they're going to make it work and challenges of doing so. You know, this is still wet all the way through. They're talking about how the cotton absorbs the rubber and it's not setting. How are we going to sculpt? Coming out of this, well, I'll show you. They're able to turn people into Klingons and the monsters and the aliens. You can see this guy's got his mask. They play with makeup. And they end up winning some serious awards. This is a largely true story. And so for those of you who are interested in cosplay, who are interested in the convention life that we're used to seeing these days at shows, this is really a great history piece on how it kind of started, because Joe and his friends were there and they did it and they helped create the cosplay scene. They didn't do it entirely by themselves, but they did get it started. So this is a great series. I really enjoyed it. Had a hard time stopping once I started reading. All told, it's 220 pages. So, I mean, it's a nice, healthy book that he's eventually going to put into a single. But until then, you get it in individual issues. And I would strongly suggest, if you can't get a full book, get the box set, because you really do want to read all 10 issues. And this is just beautiful packaging. He did such a great job. I'm impressed. How about you? Have you guys ever seen anything like this? Such a well-conceived story arc, a 10-issue story arc. Have you seen anything like this before? Let me know about it in the comments. What about stuff about zines about con life, about, in this case, cosplay? But it could be about other things. The only other thing that really comes to mind is Nate McDonough's Long Boxes. And that's about the whole notion of being in the comic buying, selling, flipping world, and some of his stuff. That has a very similar vibe to that. This obviously is much more narrative. His is more strip-based. But, yeah, good stuff. So, yeah, When We Were Trekkies. Leave a thought if you have any for the comments. Otherwise, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And, of course, tell your friends, because they're going to want to know about When We Were Trekkies. This is really, really cool. Thank you for watching, everybody. This is Tom. I will catch you